Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100. We'll do that for you from the White House, all right?
Thank you.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you, everybody.
I said it before, I'll say it again. That is what genuine joy on the campaign trail looks like. Joining us now is President and Executive Director of the Daily Signal, Rob Bluey. Also here, President of Strailmark Business Development Consultants, Hillary Fordwich. Great to see you both.
Pleasure.
Thanks, John.
All right, Hillary, let's take a look at specifically battleground states in inflation. Pennsylvania up near 20%. Wisconsin, same story. Michigan, same story. Georgia up even a little bit more. North Carolina up a little bit more. Arizona up 22%. And Nevada basically the same. It doesn't matter where Kamala Harris runs and hides. She can't run away from these numbers.
No, she absolutely can't. Although the administration, remember, they're not touting Bidenomics anymore. Why? Because it was a play on Reaganomics, which did work. And they thought that it would work in their favor, but it actually hasn't. That's why they're not using it anymore. That's for certain. And if I could just add something from your previous clip there with regard to Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, he has the common touch, and that's because he's out with people. He came up through business. He used to work on the construction sites. He gets it. That's the difference, is that Kamala isn't. She's a global elite. She hasn't worked with that. And everybody always wonders, okay, well, is she going to flip-flop? What are her policies really going to be? John, it's very simple for the American voters. All we have to do is look at what she actually has done, which is California. In all of Californian history, they have never lost in population growth. Now people are leaving in droves. It's the only time they've had population decline. And companies like Chevron leaving. If you want another California, that's what the entire United States would be. And all of those swing states, all they have to do is look at California and say, do I want that to be do I want it to be like that in my state today?
Yeah, Rob, we've seen the Harris-Walz campaign talk about their plans for price controls on everything from houses to groceries. Well, here's a grocery store owner telling Donald Trump how inflation has crushed his profits. No record profits for him. In fact, he said he's lost money for the first time in 3 years.
The best crew in the world.
So how do you do against the big stores? How do you do?
You know, I'm very proud because every year we've been up, except for the last 3 years because of this inflation. Yeah. It's exactly what you said. The prices are up, but our sales are down. So we've had to get super creative in how we use our space to try.
So prices go up and yet your sales are down.
Yeah. So it's been brutal.
Rob, you know what I love about this clip is if you've ever been in with Donald Trump in one of these scenarios, he loves to engage with the most random people. I read a story this week that when he was trying to figure out who to pick for his VP, he actually talked to the gardener at Mar-a-Lago about his decision. And I mean, that's just the kind of guy he is.
Oh, he sure is. And I agree completely with Hillary. When you compare the two candidates and you think about who you'd rather hang out and spend time with, I think that Donald Trump wins hands down. There's no question about that. But Hillary pointed to California. I'll point to the last 3.5 years. If you want to know what Kamala Harris's policy is going to be as president, just look at what they have done over the course of the last 3.5 years. It started by this excessive government spending, which put us into this inflation crisis that we're dealing with today. You've seen recently the Federal Reserve trying to do its part to bring down interest rates and give some aid to Kamala Harris along the way. But I think that quite clearly the American people can contrast what Donald Trump did during his 4 years in office, when it was not only bringing tax cuts to the American people, but obviously higher wages, personal wages. And that's why, John, when you look at the numbers today, less than 1 in 4 Americans says their personal finances are getting better. I can't see why they would necessarily want to continue the Biden-Harris policies.
Yeah, here's some more empirical data to back that up. Who do you trust more to handle the economy? This is a CNN poll. Trump, 50%. Harris, 39%, and then there's the neither category, 11%. But Donald Trump, Hillary, blowing Kamala Harris out of the water.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely no surprise. Well, look at some of the things that he's actually proposed to do. When he talks about tariffs, every American, I just wish every voter could look around when they're driving and they can see all the German cars. Do you know why we have so many German cars in America? 43.1 billion foreign cars are imported into the US. We only export 6.1 billion. Why? because we have a 2.5% tariff on cars. They have 10% in the EU. Whoever made that deal was dreadful. And I think people recognize that Donald Trump has run businesses. And if I had my druthers, I would say every single politician should have had to make payroll before they ever get to run for office. Until you've created jobs, you don't know what it takes. And I think that's one of the hugest issues at stake, John.
Right. And Donald Trump talked about that in Savannah, Georgia, all those car factories in Tennessee and Georgia and South Carolina and Alabama. They want to ship those cars out through the port of Savannah to foreign countries, not having cheap Chinese cars imported to this country. And if we don't get those tariffs, that's going to happen. Hillary, great to see you. Rob, thanks for joining us. As always, we'll talk soon.